Beloved South Africans, this is Mandi Samtembu, the one chosen, the seventh of the servants, the voice of the voiceless. Today is the 25th of February 2026, and we have yet another empty budget statement that does not cater for the marginalized people of this country, that does not protect consumers, that exploit consumers, that turns the poor poor and makes the richer richer. For the past 31 years, ANC has never built anything concrete. No policy to protect consumers from being exploited by banks. No policies to regulate banks from manipulating the rand. The banks act in impunity. No policy to redress the economy. People are losing houses there. People are losing their livelihoods, while there are people who call themselves liberators. So today I'm addressing this issue that is pressing of homeowners who have bonds with banks, who are losing their houses after paying so much. Imagine paying a house for 10 years to lose it, and they sell it for a small amount, a fraction of what you have paid. This is unfair. This system is unfair. So today I'm introducing the bank housing subsidy policy, the home bond insurance agreement, preventing banks from repossessing houses for homeowners who have paid 50% and above for their home loans. South African banks are complicit in corruption, money laundering schemes, rand manipulation, religious and radical discrimination against non-Muslim and marginalized communities, and have been doing this in impunity because they are not regulated by the current incompetent government of criminals. All these corrupt activities happening under the bank's watch. For instance, the VPS Mutual Bank scandal, where the bank of the pensioners had hard-earned money, 2 billion, was looted by corrupt politicians, their friends and families. Even today, those politicians implicated in that scandal are still serving in parliament today as members of parliament. They call each other honorable members. I don't know what's honorable about criminals. The bank's failure to report suspicious transactions. Banks are deliberately neglecting their obligation under the Financial Intelligence Center Act, FICA 38 of 2001, to report large or unusual transactions, allowing billions in illicit funds to flow through senior officials at major South African banks like FNB, Standard Bank, Absa, Nedbank, etc. All of them, they are the same. They fund terrorism. Hamas is funded through the banks, the Islam terrorists, through the South African banks, without being reported. Banks are accused of acting as facilitators for gold smuggling networks, highlighting the involvement of banks in organized crimes and crime cartels. There is a major 60 billion class action lawsuit currently targeting 4 of South Africa's largest banks, Absa, Nedbank, Standard Bank, and FirstRand, over allegations of unfair practices regarding home equity and mortgage loans. The lawsuit claims that these banks have since 1994, when the useless, corrupt government took over of ANC, these banks have been unlawfully repossessing homes and selling them for a fraction of their market value, often displacing South African families and leaving them in financial ruins. Allegations suggest some banks charge black homeowners 30 to 40% higher interest rates compared to other races, with some rates not properly linked to prime rate. It's easy for a black person to get a car finance, but it's not easy for a black person to be financed to get a home, to buy a home. This is some of the racial discrimination that the banks have been doing with impunity in South Africa. Under the incoming divine government, the Financial Reserve and Regulation Act 2025 will nationalize the South African Reserve Bank, will regulate and monitor and authorize all banks operating in South Africa. The SA Reserve Bank will be the primary regulatory authority for the banking sector to implement regulatory policies in South Africa. The Financial Reserve and Regulation Act 2025, FRARA, is establishing the Bank and Housing Subsidy Insurance Agreement, Home Bond Insurance Agreement, whereby the whole home loan application process by bank and the applicant will be authorized and regulated according to the correct interest rates. The bank will not be allowed to repossess homes that have paid 50% or above. Under this act, bank will be prohibited to systematically discriminate applicants based on their color or religious belief in order to be approved for home loans or business finance. The Islamic loan finance will be abolished totally. Transactions related to foreign exchange, current and capital account transactions will also be regulated and monitored by a robust dynamic system that will be implemented. Banks that omit these policies and agreements will be penalized and flagged. Under the incoming divine government, no system, no business or government institution will act with impunity. This bank housing subsidy insurance agreement comes into effect today, 26 February 25. The scepter of the wicked will not remain over the land allotted to the righteous. So the righteous will not put their hands to do evil and injustice. Psalm 125:3. I thank you.